How's it going today, guys? In this video, I'm going to be talking about 226 mounts from Unity. If you want to see more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share to help support the channel. And if you have any comments or want to see anything specific, feel free to comment down below. Now, I recently made a video talking about optic height, going into a bunch of different mounts, what I think they're used for, and a bunch of different things. So if you want to hear some more explanation on optic heights, go ahead and check out that video. I've been running this Unity 226 for a while now. This is on a BCM 11.5 inch barrel. I really do like the setup, and it is good for a lot of things, but for me, I found some downsides that it didn't work well for me for. My main problem with this optic height is that I was getting more of a chin weld, and for me, I would like to get as much of a cheek weld as possible while still being able to have a heads-up shooting position. Since this is so high and having to use a chin weld, it caused a little bit more difficulty for managing recoil since I am using a flash hider here at the end. If I was using a muzzle brake, it would significantly reduce the recoil, and having a chin weld or no chin weld or cheek weld at all wouldn't be as big of a problem. But because I like to run a flash hider, I think there's a lot of benefits to a flash hider, and having a muzzle brake or a compensator. There's one big benefit, which it reduces recoil, but it comes with a lot of negatives. So if you're running a muzzle brake or a compensator, the recoil management won't be as big as problem for you. I wanted to step down a notch and go to the 193 to gain a little bit more of a cheek weld, which will help with keeping track of the red dot and getting a little bit better of recoil management. Another downside to this is when you're going prone or trying to do any mount or barricade work, it's a little bit harder to take long range or distance shots. Another problem that can be hit or miss for some people, which it really depends on your zero, is your height over bore. So from the top of the rail to the middle of the glass, this is about 2.26 inches, but when you're dealing with height over bore, it is from the middle of the barrel to the center line of the red dot. That distance is 3.75 inches. So when you're shooting up close, it can cause some problems where you're missing by a few inches. Depending on your zero, it's not a huge deal. I'm going to be switching to a 100-yard zero for my rifle, so I won't see it as much. But if you're using something like a 50-yard zero or maybe a 25-yard zero, you'll be able to see it a lot more when you're shooting up close, and then you're having to add in your holds at different ranges and distances. The 100-yard zero will help with your taller mounts on not having to hold as much or not seeing your hold as much up close. I think this height and riser is great for red dots in the close quarters combat within about 100 yards, maybe a little bit less, or if you're running a break. I think this works very well, and it does have some features I like, but when you're trying to get past 100 yards and then you're trying to do stuff with magnifier work, I don't think it works as well, at least for me personally. I also think that this riser is better used or more fit for shorter length carbines. Once you get to your 14.5s and your 16-inch barrels, I don't really think a red dot or this high of a riser is great anyways, because at that point you're going to be taking more long range shots. It will also put a little bit more strain on your neck. I do like the height of these because it allows for a heads-up shooting position. It's comfortable. It works well with night vision and gas mask and all that type of stuff. So it does work well, but unless the circumstance is very specific and right for you, I don't think these work for everybody. So that's why I'm switching to the 193. Some other pros that I really like about this is for this magnifier, it is a flip to center magnifier. So instead of flipping off to one side, it causing a snag hazard, it flips straight down to center. You can still see your optic very clear. It doesn't cut out any of this optic. It keeps the weight in the middle of the gun. Another really cool thing about this Unity mount is that it actually allows you, if you can see right here, the little windage knob, it allows you to mount a rear sight and a front sight inside this gap. So that little gap right there, you'll actually have your rear sight right here and then your front sight here. Now it's a small window. It's pretty much the exact same size as that, maybe a little bit bigger. But if you're running a laser up front, or you don't have space to run both a rear and a front, you can run it inside here to give you a backup option if this fails. Another thing you can do is you can mount a QD lever. Now the setup I have the rear iron sight inside here, and then I have a front Daniel Defense fixed post up front. I don't see this at all when I'm looking through my red dot, but that is a very nice setup that I like to run. I'm getting more to the point where if you run a very durable optic like Aimpoint, EOTech, Trigicon, that running iron sights is less of a need, especially like something like the Trigicon ACOG. I mean, that thing's a tank of an optic. So to try to run iron sights with that, I don't really think it's necessary, but it does give some people the peace of mind. This isn't going to leave any space for a rear iron sight, but if you're not running this, you could just run an iron sight back here, run your iron sight up front, and then you can just quick detach that off if need be. And it also kind of depends how long your neck is, or how much of a cheek you have on your face to actually be able to get a cheek or chin weld. So there's a few variables that come into play. If you want to see more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share to help support the channel. And if you have any questions or want to see any specific videos, feel free to comment down below. Thank you for watching.